Look at this move. That for the last week, this pound has been flying against the Swiss, and the Swiss has been capitulating against, and that's what we have seen in the index of the pound Swiss. And if you look at the intraday, that's the, I'm sorry Joe, but that's the best I can do right now. I'll try to be all of you guys, you're okay here. Okay, so maybe it's on, sound is fine now. Okay, so again, maybe it's at your end a little bit. So anyway, as you can see that the pound Swiss has been going higher, and of course this is what we have read from the indexes, that the Swiss franc is weakening. But here we have something which is a little bit concerning, that this here now, the 158 in the dollar, in the pound Swiss, is a structure point, and this is an excellent sign. And you could see that we have been moving towards that structure point. So we would like, now we have closed the week at 157.51, and the structure point to the upside is the 158. So we want to be buyers of the pound Swiss, and if we buy it and if it trades above the 158, your next move up is going to be the next structure point, which is the 161.18. So this means that we have about 300 pips on a move, on a break above the 159, above the 158. So my risk reward on this trade, this is the best I can do, guys. So if we move above the 159, above the 158, then this, I'm looking for a 300 pip move to the upside, and I am risking a small amount of money on that trade. So if I'm going to look at the intraday chart so I can get some clarity on the move, the issue with the pound Swiss, it is a heavy currency, it's a heavy pair, and of course, since it's a heavy pair, you can expect some volatility in that currency. But you should be looking at buying the pound and shorting the Swiss franc. So with this, we're going to identify now an entry point. So our buy point, the high of the day was 157.94, which is basically like 6 pips away from the structure point, and we came back off, and that is a very nice behavior that you can see, guys, here. This is a very positive behavior. This is the structure point, the 159.80 here. This is the structure point, and once we tested, we sold off, but we still back at the 157.50. So this is quite an interesting, that's an indication of strength rather than it is an indication of weakness. So in this case, my long point, which we had already from last week, is the 158. We still had it from last week, a couple of weeks ago. So this is my long point, the 158. It is also my structure long, the 158. So I'm going to leave it like that. And if I'm buying it above the 159, the 158, I'm going to put my stop slightly below the 158. Now, Nasser, if you buy it at 158, and I say put the stop below 158, I mean, I say put your stop over here. So technically, we want to use a little bit of a common sense. You just want to give your stop maybe at the market side. Allow it this room because this is a heavy currency, a heavy pair, but you don't want it to stay. Worst case, you don't want it to trade below. I will put the stop in the pound Swiss below 157.37, so at least for the new guests. So I'm going to put the stop 157. Look at this. This is what I love about this, doing this price behavior. Now my stop, my short stop is now right there. It is the same one because it has playing a double roll, so I'm going to use it right there. And you see, when you follow a methodology, everything falls in place. You're doing the same thing over and over again. You can always fix it. All right, so I'm going to pick the short entry later on. Okay, so I'm going to read the points for you in a second. Now my short point, where will I go short? We will go short below 156.80. So we're going to short it below 156.80. And if we go short below 156.80, we're going to place our stop probably around 157. I don't want it to stay above the 157.20, if you will. So my short point is the 156.80. And my stop is the 157.20. And this is my structure long. I need to get my structure short. My structure short is still way down here, the 157, the 151.22. It has not changed. I do, because in this here, as you can see, there is nothing but air. I don't have a structure point anywhere. So my structure point is still the 151.22. So for the Swiss, the pound Swiss, these are your numbers. We're going to go long above the 158, and if we buy it above the 158, my stop is going to be 157.20. So I'm risking about 80 pips on that trade. It's a big stop, it's a big heavy currency, but that's the way it is. And my structure long is also the 158, so I should be looking for a big move to the upside after I buy it. My short point is the 156.80, and if I go short below 156.80, my stop is 157.20, so I'm risking 40 pips on that trade, and my structural point is so far away to the downside, I'm just going to leave it as it is at 151.22. Okay, that is the pound Swiss.